Okay, we're gonna try to switch the camera here. Um, so it is Memorial Day weekend, and I decided to head back out to the Hollywood Hard Rock Hotel, the Guitar Hotel, and we are actually staying in the Guitar Hotel right now again, um, with the pool overlook. And we were here basically since last night, which was Sunday night, but we didn't stay at the hotel then. I ended up getting a room at a cheap little apartment hotel called Maydie's, and then came over here to the Hard Rock for the next couple days because they gave me comp days here. What happened was the Hard Rock gave me tickets for an event called Florida by Night. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's some kind of Asian show thing, showcase. I think it's actually Vietnamese, but it's full of a bunch of Vietnamese stars and stuff. Um, and for some reason, I guess Hard Rock might think I'm Vietnamese. I don't know. But they invited me, and I guess so. I brought my wife, and we went for the comp show to watch it, and it was kind of interesting. But everything was like in Vietnamese. And what's crazy about Vietnamese, if Timothy ever watches this video, is Vietnamese and Thai sounds kind of similar. So except it's like got parts of one word, but they don't make sense. It's like speaking gibberish. It's like saying potato, trash can, school, lunchbox, sky, airplane. It doesn't make sense. So I was sitting there watching them all talk, and it sounded like they were speaking Thai, but it was like all kind of jumbled words. And then they threw in English every so often. So that was interesting. But anyhow, we're here at the Hard Rock Hotel, enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. And we'll be here for the next couple days, enjoying the pool and all the amenities that they give. Some of you might be wondering what's been going on with me in the hotels and all that. Um, as you know, a while back I was telling you I was trying to work on a plan for my retirement. What to do with my retirement, because I'm getting ready to retire very soon, like maybe in the next year or so. And I was like, well, I don't want to just sit around, so I want to kind of travel the world and do all this fancy stuff, like all these nice things that I normally only dream of doing. So I devised a plan, and I've been testing it out, and I don't know, it sort of pseudo works, which is like getting all these comps. I've been invited to the Hard Rock Hotel here a whole bunch of times, as well as one in Tampa. This is my second time in the Guitar Hotel. Sometimes they offer me like that other hotel over here that you can see across the street. I don't know if it's called Dulce or whatever, but they actually let you in like for free, so you can get like free nights. So all my nights here are free. They do charge me for this hotel a resort fee, which is like $50 a day or something like that. So I'm paying like $100 because I got like 2 nights here. So I'm paying $100 for 2 nights. The rooms right now for tonight are going for like about 900 is the normal price. So not a bad deal for a comp. And how I got it was basically getting the player's card, that you get for the casino. And then I played a lot of blackjack. I tried to cycle my money. So the longer you sit and you play, the more it looks like you're actually spending. So on their books, it looks like I spent a lot of money because they've comped me probably. The Hard Rock has comped me, I think, close to about $7,000 or $9,000 worth of comps. But I haven't spent anywhere near that because I don't have that kind of money. But the problem is, for it to be effective for me, I actually need to be making a profit. And I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time winning. As a lot of you would know, trying to beat the casino is like hard. And I've been trying different ways. I've been, trying to study card counting and all that, but I can't count. I get a really bad headache and counts off, and then you get people who don't play right, and then it just it's hard to win. It's hard to beat them. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So right now I'm enjoying the ride, since I started off. They have a card that's like a red card for their Hard Rock loyalty card or whatever, and you start off with the red card. I forget what that's called. I don't even remember. I think it's called Star. Yeah, Star. And then you upgrade to Legend, which is the blue card. Then you upgrade to the next one, the gold card, which is darn it, I forget the name of it now. And then you get a final card, which is like X. It's like a black card with an X on it. So I made it all the way up to the blue level, and am about 75% towards getting the gold. But I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm just like, I'm losing too much. I'm not losing anywhere near what they're comping me, but, I'm not exactly a rich dude. But I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of this. And for those of you who are interested in doing it, basically, how I got the rooms is kind of weird, because the card in Tampa, let me put it on my face here if you want to see my mug. All right. The card in Tampa, you basically get the notice on the Unity website, the Unity account. It tells you when they have an offer. They'll say, like, Tampa has some offers for you. And the offer is basically free play, gifts. Like, they invited me to the Chinese New Year and stuff like that, and they give you a chance to get a drawing for, I don't know, it was upwards of like $10,000 or whatever, free play, which I didn't get. I did get like, I think $70 on that one. But anyhow, once you sign up, that's what they start to offer you. And depending on how much money you spend, they kind of track you. So if they think you're going to spend a lot, and I think it might help if you're Asian, because I think they think I spend more money than I do, or will spend more money than I do. So, they start giving me all sorts of offers. Like, they gave me like almost $1,000, in free play each month. Yeah, I wasn't spending anywhere near that, but they would offer me like $150, $145 to come play of their money. And then what I did was I used their money to get more money, and then I would play like blackjack. I used their money on the slots. And what I did was I built up the slots. I started off on the smaller slots and built it up and got a couple $100. Then I would go sit and play at the blackjack table for like a couple hours. The key is not getting eliminated. You just keep playing and playing and playing. And they rate you, and they calculate like how much money you're spending. And that's how you get these offers. So they started offering me like free hotel stays over there. But I was like, well, I kind of enjoyed Tampa, going there and staying there a couple times, because Tampa was kind of neat. But after doing that for a while, I was like, well, the one I really want, my goal was to get the Guitar Hotel, the Hollywood Hotel in South Florida. So I started coming down here, and it turns out that even though all the casinos here, the Seminole casinos, they're all tied together, but they act independent. So you had to earn points at each one for them to start offering you stuff. So for a while, you saw me get quiet, because I was actually trying to work out a system where I could actually hit all the casinos. And if they all offered me like a couple $100, I was like, hey, I could just play on the casino's money. I could hit each casino and that's what I was doing. And that's why I got so quiet. I was testing my van out, for traveling and sleeping in it, which I did the first couple weeks before they started comping me the rooms. So I was able to go to the casino and play on their money without having to spend money on a room. So it was like free, and then I'd wake up and get a couple $100 to play, win a couple hundred, maybe upwards of 1,000 or whatever, and then use that towards the point basis. But that's what I've been doing. It's just trying to build all that up, and trying to get to the point where I was trying to see if I could make a profit. If I could actually try to gamble as a living, if you want to call it that, after I retire. I mean, it wouldn't be like I needed it. I wouldn't need it as a living, but it'd be nice to have like a source of income where you only have to play games. But after coming here this weekend and the last couple weekends, I just been like getting wiped. It's been like hitting me. Also, it doesn't help that I'm recovering from COVID. Yeah, man. I just got my second round of COVID. This is my second time getting COVID, and I just got over it about probably now it's been about 3 4 days, and my wife's getting over it. Well, she's kind of over it now, but it was rough. And then I was trying to gamble while I had COVID. I didn't even have COVID, but I was recovering from it, so the symptoms and stuff were all gone, so I was okay to travel and stuff. But my brain, my brain is kind of like foggy. How they talk about that COVID fog. I think that affects your judgment too when you're trying to. Don't gamble if you're recovering from COVID or a flu or something where your brain isn't clear. Because I just been doing like terrible. So I'm recalculating my plan to see if this is something I want to do and can do, because I only got like 1 year. I got 1 year to either make this profitable or it's not going to happen. And the plan was that if I could get profitable at the casinos and get all these comps, I could actually travel almost any country that has casinos that comp. You know, um, I'm not like a professional player or anything like that, but if I get good enough where I'm playing off their money mostly, when they're paying thousands of dollars in comps and I'm only spending a couple hundred, it becomes feasible. But if I have to spend thousands and thousands, I can't afford it. So that's where we're at with that. For those of you who are old viewers of the channel, I had talked to you a little bit about my house. I was also dealing with that. If you've been with me at the beginning, then I used to live in my van. That's how we got the channel Living in a Van. And eventually, with the help of viewers, as well as just keeping me alive long enough, the VA kicked in and rated me with a disability, which gave me a little bit of money, not a lot, and like a 50% rating, which sounds like a lot, but the VA rating is weird. Like 50%, you don't really get 50% of the pay of a disability. You get like more like 15-20% of what would be a full disability. So it's only the 100%, they actually can live off that. 50% you can sort of, but it would be a struggle, But I also have my retirement, from being a teacher previously, even though that got cut short. And between the two of them, I can actually live somewhat okay, But I wouldn't be able to afford a house and stuff if I didn't buy a house. So I went ahead and bought a house, and I couldn't buy a house conventionally, so I had to buy a house through the auction, the county auction, which is what created an issue a couple months ago. It was like 3 months, 2-3 months now. I came home one day and there was this notice in my yard. It was a piece of paper on a stake, and it said there was a court hearing, yeah, about the house, that they were putting a lien on it. I was like, what the? I paid for this house, and it came from the county. So they put it on a Friday afternoon. I got home from work, so I called them Monday. I said, hey, surely this is some kind of mistake. I bought the house, through auction, and you guys released the title to me, and everything got released by all the lien holders and everything. That's how you released it. And they said, they couldn't really quite answer me what happened, and they said, you need to do your due diligence. There's a lien on it, and you didn't close out the inspection with the code enforcement. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about code enforcement. So I started calling around, and they couldn't give me a straight answer other than saying I had to go to the hearing. And then I started researching, and if you just Google Brevard County code enforcement, or there's this girl who had the same situation, and other people as well that I saw during the hearing. But this girl had it even worse than me. What they did or still do, and I think it's kind of like a running scam almost. The county sells you the house through tax lien, okay? But they have code enforcement put a lien on it. And even though they sell it to you and release the title to you, they don't remove the lien on that. They said that it's settled as of the day of the sale, but the code enforcement violation, unless you call the county to straighten it out, they still list it as if it's still out of violation. And then they backdate it like 10, 20 years. Yeah. And upwards of between anywhere from like $75 to $150 per day. Uh-huh. Yeah. So in my case, I was like, so how much do I owe? What's going on? How do I straighten this out? Because they're trying to take my house again. And they couldn't quite answer me. And they said, well, you got to go to the hearing office first and blah, 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 blah. So I researched it, and I saw the other girl, who lived in Brevard County, and she was like a real estate girl. So she should have known the stuff. But she bought a house as an investment. She didn't buy a house. She bought a lot. Yeah, I think it was just a lot, an empty lot. And got it for like $9,000, okay? And she was all happy with that. Then went to pay it all off and collect the title, and they said that she owed $500,000. Yeah, yeah. She bought the place for like $9,000, and then they said she owed $500,000 on it in lien penalties and fees. You're like, what the? What? It became like a nightmare for her. And then what she ended up having to do was she had to pay an attorney and then pay the county. And then they came up with this clause saying that they could, I forget what the clause was, but they gave her a clause where she paid them extra money. And of course she spent thousands on an attorney. So in the end, she spent like $20,000, more than $20,000 on her $9,000 land. And she was able to claim it. And now, the land is worth more. So she's all happy. But I'm like, that's a scam. But and it seemed more like a scam to me when I went to the court hearing. I was sitting there and I was like, man, everybody was like me. What's going on? We don't know what's going on. What's going on? So everybody was like that. And then all these hearings would come out and they would backdate all these liens from code enforcement to like freaking 5 to 10 to 20 years. And then there were other people like me who had bought a tax deed house, and they were going to just give it up because like the lien on it would be over $150,000, $200,000. You buy the house for like 40, 50,000, and then you spend another 40,000 fixing it, and then they want like 500,000 or whatever on it on top of that. So people were like just upset, and a lot of people didn't even know what was going on. There was a lady who was an attorney, she was an attorney, but she was there with her son who wasn't an attorney, and that had to do with the neighbor complaining about stuff parked in his yard and all that, but they were backdating stuff. And there was some crazy stuff, like this one house, they were written up, I guess, previously for having trash in their yard, and then the house caught on fire. Yeah, it's like a trailer home. It caught on fire. So they took all the stuff out of their house and put it by the street for the trash pickup. And then the very next day, code enforcement comes, takes a picture of all that trash, on the edge of the street for the trash to pick up, and writes them up for litter in their yard. And fined them, and then they backdated it. It was crazy. So then on mine, I was like, hey, I had researched it all. They didn't even give me information. I had to get it from my HR lady from work. I was there stressing out. And she's like, what's going on, Denoy? And I was like, hey, they're trying to take my house. I just bought this house, tax lien, and now suddenly code enforcement's coming up out of nowhere, backdating stuff to, I bought the house in 2021, and code enforcement was backdating to 2016, 2015. I'm like, what the? I wasn't even around. So I talked to my neighbor and everything, and, found the website that has all the code enforcement issues, and was able to go to old pictures and stuff, and figured what had happened was the previous owner of my house had all died, and their family members had died, so they couldn't serve them anything. And then some squatters moved in and brought their RVs and trailers and everything and parked them all over their yard. It wasn't even that many. It was like one tractor trailer and then an RV up front. And somebody, I don't know, it was allowed to be anonymous at the time, but nowadays, currently, you have to report the name of the person who reported it. But on the initial report from 2016, 2015, It just said anonymous. Somebody complained. So code enforcement came, and of course, they brought the police to serve them and say, you need to clean all this up. And of course, when they did that, all the squatters bolted. They all left. So the place was like empty and deserted when I moved in. It had was all overgrown like a forest. You saw in the video. If you want to go look at my I bought a tax deed house videos. I think it's on the Denoy board channel, not on the Living in a Van channel. But that documents the whole what it looked like for me. So I looked at all that, and then I was like, well, it looks like they never even served the original owner, because the original owner and his family were all dead, and they knew they were dead because on the thing it said deceased. And I researched the family and found, when the wife died, the husband, and I knew everything. So then I said, and they never served me any paperwork. The only notice I ever heard of anything was the Friday before when I came home and that stuff was in my yard. And then, try to talk to them to get a straight answer. Nobody could give me an answer. So, my question is, they didn't serve the original owner with the violation notice. They didn't serve me, the new owner, with the violation notice. And not only that, when I bought the house, I don't know if this is a scam where somebody jacks up the price. So instead of winning it at the bid that should win, they jack it up like way high. Like I could have got the house for like $6,000. Yeah, believe it or not, I could have bought the house with the land for $6,000. Somebody jacked it up to like $28,000, $29,000 before I could win. And I won. But see, the $6,000 or $7,000, $8,000, whatever, was what was owed to code enforcement and everybody else who had a lien on it. So they paid everybody off, including code enforcement, because all the people who had liens on it had to be paid off so that they could release the title to sell it to me. And that's what happened. So I'm like, okay. And then there was $20,000 left over of overpayment. Hey, everybody's writing me. Joe's saying I'm only responsible for, no, they were backdating the shit all the way to 2015, 2016. But then they wanted like an additional 3,800. So I'm like, where are you coming up with the 3,800? Where's this figure coming from? Because if you're charging them more like $100 a day, it would probably be more like $100,000 or something. Where are they coming up with the 3,000? And my question for them was, why didn't you take the money if you had another 3,000, whatever it was owed, or 6,000, whatever? Why didn't you take it out of the 20,000 that was still in the account? Because see, that money, they won't refund it to me. They send it off to the state of Florida. And the state of Florida won't let me claim it, saying it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the state of the person who I bought it from. And the county is saying the estate is the one that owes the money for the violations. But they're going to charge me as the estate. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, on the one hand, they consider me the estate, so they bill me for the violations, even though I'm not responsible and it wasn't there when I went in. I cleaned everything up. So they want to charge me as the estate, but the money left over that was paid to the estate, they won't let me have it. So I kept asking that, and then, but we went to the hearing, and I saw everybody get up, and it was like similar to my case, and they were all, it's like they get up, and it was almost like a monkey court, it's like everybody got up, and it was automatically ruled for the county. I was like, wow, every single person got ruled against. But I had prepared, I had pictures, I had documents, their documents that showed they got paid, they left money in there, they were made aware that there was money in there. Why didn't they get it? Also, why, if they knew that the people were deceased, didn't they serve me when they knew I bought the place? Why didn't you show me that there was a lien and that there was a violation? They said I needed to call them to tell them to come re-inspect to close out the violation. I'm like, how am I going to know there's a violation when you guys released the lien? You released the lien when you sold the house to me and gave me the title. And if they were still in violation and you knew I was a new owner, why didn't you serve me? Why is it I'm getting a hearing notice and I had to suddenly appear in court within a week? Yeah, it's like real short notice. But that's what happened. And unlike the other cases, the hearing magistrate, the special magistrate, said they were going to hold off on my ruling. Yeah. And what had happened that like made everybody laugh and stuff, but it was pissing me off was, the code enforcement lady, she laughed when I told her, what had happened, and she says, "Oh, we got a real live one here." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, you got a real live one here. I will follow it through to the end." So the magistrate told the county, they had to come up with a summation of what happened to answer my questions, because they were all legal questions, like, why didn't you take the money while it was still there? Why you didn't notify me? And how did you even come up with all this figure and stuff? So they didn't know what a summation was, and they couldn't answer. So then I'm waiting for them to give me the answer, and we get a month before the second hearing. Then a week before the second hearing, they start calling me. Yeah, they had the county attorney calling my house, calling me to try to work out a deal. And I'm like, look, I just want the answers to these things. And he said, look, we're going to give you this deal, okay? We're just going to say that everything's closed off and you're even. They don't want to answer the question as to how they ended up with their figures and how they were ripping everybody off and what they were doing. I think it's like illegal. So I said, no, I want to have the hearing. I'm going to go to the hearing. I want to hear all this, and I want my money back. You guys still owe me $20,000 that you sent to the state of Florida. You won't let me claim it. But I knew that, they could end up ruling against me. My coworkers were all warning me. They were like, Denoy, they you're going against government. And if you've ever gone against government, you kind of know how it goes. And I've been through the court system, and I know how they lie and make up stuff. That's how I got into my situation, because I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't lie to them. I wouldn't lie for them. And when you don't do that, people in power like that, they kind of crack down on you. And that's what happened to me before. So they knew I knew what could happen. I knew that they could end up reinstating everything and making me pay more and everything. So, but I was like, I felt sorry for the guy who, his house had burned down. He was actually on fire, yeah. I didn't even tell you all the details of it, but like the dude had burn marks all over his body. He was on fire. He was there with his brother. His brother had to kind of help him walk around because he couldn't even see so well and stuff. Half his body was on fire from that fire. And, there was some other woman who was in a wheelchair. It was just really bad. It was like poor people, they were like taking advantage of poor people. So I felt that I needed to fight the case in court to expose this unfairness that they were doing to the poor people. And they had the code enforcement office called me, then the assistant called me, then the county deputy management dude called me. Okay? And then they had the county attorney call me. And I kept telling them, no, I want to go to court. I was like, no, you haven't answered my question. How are you doing all this stuff, and how is all this legal? You're doing a bunch of illegal stuff. The county's doing illegal stuff. So they threatened me. The county attorneys threatened me and said, you're gonna have to pay more money because you won't accept this deal. You're gonna end up having to pay for the court fees and all these other fees. And if you lose, you have to pay the other $3,000 to $5,000, and then penalty fee and all this other stuff. I was like, you know what, I'll ride with it because I'm on the right side. Even if I lose, I'll go down in flames. So I had to try to track down the special magistrate's office, and they make it so you can't find any phone numbers for anybody to call or any emails or anything. So to reach anyone in the county, you can't find them. So luckily for me, I used to be public affairs and stuff when we did a lot of research. When I was in the military, I did public affairs for stories and things like that. So I knew how to look things up. So I was able to find the magistrate's office. And it turns out even the magistrate in them, she's like an attorney, a regular attorney for the county. A regular practicing attorney in the county, just a regular attorney. But then on the side does the magistrate stuff for the county. So I actually called her at her office. and left I called a message. I called and she didn't answer the phone. So then I texted her and says, "Look, and this is illegal. I'm not supposed to be talking to the magistrate." it's like it's like you're going to trial and then you call the judge and say, "Hey, judge, can you can you straighten this out for me before we go to trial? Let me know what's going to happen." So I reached out to the magistrate's office and I said, "Look, are you the same person that's the magistrate for my case? Because if you are, I have a question for you. I'm getting all sorts of calls from the county attorney's office, threatening me that if I don't take their deal, I'm going to end up having to pay all this that you've already ruled, even though you had said we were going to have another hearing and then there was going to be a ruling at that point. But they've told me you've already ruled, and that if I don't take it, I'm going to have to pay all these fees and stuff. I'm basically going to be screwed." And then she didn't get back with me because, it's illegal. So she had her assistant call me, and we spoke on the phone for like almost 2 hours, an hour and a half. And I gave her all the information and all that. Okay? And then, I'm trying to remember what happened. She said, "Look," I said, "I don't trust the county at all because they keep lying and they keep not being able to produce any paperwork. They keep saying stuff, and I don't trust anything they offer me or anything because they could change the story and I don't have anything to prove that, their offers to me and stuff. But also what they're doing is just wrong. They're going after poor people." And so the magistrate's office ended up getting a letter from the county attorney. So it went through the magistrate's office, and then the magistrate's office called me and said, "This is what the county has said and said it will do to them, for me," and that way it was documented at least. And if I would accept it, then they could just close everything out, and then it'll be like it never happened. Except, I spent money on this already, dealing with it and fighting it, and I had to take time off from work, and I had to have my neighbor go with me to testify and all that crazy stuff. So I was like, well, you know what? They could have went the other way and then punished me even more for standing up to the county, to the government, and the reason I did it was I was trying to get it documented into official county records so that if they tried to do this to anyone else, somebody could look up the records and see how to fight it, But the way they did it, and what I ended up having to agree to, was that it was settled already, that there was no fine. It just basically never existed. That letter that they stuck in my yard, all the money that I spent, all the court hearings and stuff that we had, it just sort of got buried. So there's no record of them having to write summation explaining how they came up with all the illegal stuff they were doing. And from my end, it's kind of over. But, I also know they know my name there now again at the courthouse. It's like, don't mess with Denoy. He will fight. He will fight nail and tooth to the end. So, even if it looks like the boat's going down, he'll be there on the end of it, But I know that they'll be a little bit more weary of trying to do code enforcement and stuff, around my house because they know me personally. I will go. I won't just, let them say, "Hey, we're the government and this is the way it is." So anyhow, this is what's going on this end. As far as work-wise, I'm trying to wrap things up. My kids are all kind of grown up now. One more year and I'm done. The state of Florida no longer has a hold on me. The state of Florida has been garnishing me and doing all sorts of stuff. My punishment. So it's about to end. I guess you guys are tired of looking at my mug. I'm going to show you some people in bikinis and bathing suit. Let me swap the view here. Oh, we get a view of my forehead. Okay, so anyhow, what I started to do was prepare for retirement, and that's why you see me here doing all this crazy stuff with the on the Victory Casino. I now made it to elite status. They give me free boarding. I can bring a guest on for free, and we get free food, so I can eat like all sorts of free food on there. Oh, so I get a lot of free perks. Like here in Tampa, I can pretty much get free hotels. The Tampa ones, whenever they offer it, the Hollywood Florida one, they almost give it to me whenever I want it. So whenever I want a room, I can get a room, except weekends and holidays. You know. Uh, for those of you who aren't familiar with some of these rooms, I think for those little rooms over there, I think they run like $2,000 or $3,000 a night. Yeah, just for one night. Do you believe that? And they have like a little lagoon there in the back that people can go kayaking and stuff. And I don't know, for those of you who are familiar, I don't think I got comments on the other one, but I don't know if that's Hollywood. I don't think it's Hollywood. I think that may be Fort Lauderdale. You know, Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale, like right next to each other. So that's what I've been doing. It's just trying to gear up as I prepare for retirement. And you know, I'm looking at my options, and it's kind of limited. I mean, I have my VA disability, which isn't going to cover that much, but it'll be enough to live off, as well as my teaching retirement. But if I want to do nice stuff, like go to places, you know, nice hotels like this and stuff, I got to figure out something else. Although I was looking, if you've been, on YouTube, looking at how cheap it is to live in Thailand, they have like hotels that look like this, you know, condos and stuff like this, condo rooms and stuff like this in Thailand. You know, I could probably get a place like this in Thailand for a whole month for about $500 or $600. But this is what it looks like here at the Hard Rock. You know, they've got a fancy the guitar hotel. So there's a bathroom. They even give you a little robe. Yeah, you know, and then you've got the stand-up shower with a little seat here. There's like multiple shower heads. You got like that regular shower. Of course, a little bathroom here with art. So you can poop. You can poop in style. But glass, broken glass. I guess it's kind of a simplistic decoration here and how they do things. But they have condos like this in Thailand that are probably about 500 or 600 a month. So one of my plans is to maintain my house here in America, okay, because it's affordable. Um, you know, it's gotten so expensive to live in America and stuff because the price of everything is so high. So one of the problems is if you buy a house and you pay a high price for it, everything's going to be high for you. Insurance, property taxes and everything. But if you were like me and you bought a house for cheap, you know, because it was a tax deed auction or whatever, and you managed to navigate through the county's little weird games that they play to try to ream you, um, your property tax will be based on what you paid for the house when you bought it. In other words, instead of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in property tax, my property tax is hundreds, in the hundreds, you know, less than 1,000. And also the cost of living is so low. And because the place is so old and stuff, no insurance will cover it. So it's not even insured, you know, which means you save on insurance, and you know, something happens, it happens. But the place is old. You know, for what I'd have to pay for insurance to get it covered, I could buy another place, you know, in a year or two. I mean, that's how high the insurance is in Florida right now. But with my money that I will make when I retire, you know, I can actually still travel and possibly go to places like Thailand and maybe Vietnam, maybe the Philippines, and maybe live there for like 3 months or something. You know, when it costs like $500 to rent a really nice place, I think that you know it might even include like electricity and water. But $600. I've seen in places where it's as low as like $150. I was looking at the latest figures on earnings just to show you. For those of you who are feeling poor like me because you're in America or some other Western world, you know, where everything's gotten so expensive, what you want to look at is the cost of living around the world at places that you might want to visit. So, for example, in Thailand, I think the average worker there makes $10 or $12 a day. So, a normal worker in Thailand makes $10 or $12 each day. that will put into perspective how, quote, rich you are if you start opening up your mind to traveling the world. So once you can deal with the passports and visas and everything else, and dealing with travel and things like that, you might be able to go to places that you didn't think you could afford. Because if the people that are only making $10 a day, as an American, even if you were making minimum wage, you would make like 10 times more than that, 10, 20 times more in one day than what they make. So imagine how much more you make in a year compared to somebody in Thailand or the Philippines or Cambodia or Vietnam. Um, and there are places also in Central and South America that are like that. Now you want to keep your eye open for stability of the country, because you could be going over there and there's an overthrow of the government happening. That would be an interesting YouTube video. It's like, yeah, so here I am, and they're overthrowing the government. So, but for those of you who are looking, and feeling a little bit hopeless as far as your future and stuff, if you've been with me any length of time, then you know what I started as. I had like $3 in my pocket living in my van, and here I am now getting comped, rooms that are worth a couple hundred, if not a couple $1,000s a night. The hope is that I can eventually try to spread it out to other casinos. Well, I get Las Vegas. Like, they tried to send me to Madonna for free. I had comp tickets and stuff, but I didn't go. I didn't want to fly out there, but because they didn't comp the airplane ticket. But they want you to go and stay in their hotel and stuff. I was like, hey, if they do that, you could plan your whole retirement on that. Just plan it on comps, one comp right after another, and then when you need a break, go back to your house where it's cheap. And if you're in America and you're in an expensive house, that's something you might want to consider. It's like, can you afford to stay in that house because of the insurance and the property tax and everything else that's associated with an expensive house? It may be better to, if you need a home base, which I think having a home base is kind of important. So my home base is going to be America. And, I will use this place here in America as a place to rest and build up money to travel the world. And it's not as expensive as a lot of people believe it is, other than the plane ticket. You could stay in another country for as low as like $500 to $1,000 a month. So if you can generate at least that much money, there might be hope for you to have a retirement that's going to be interesting instead of just staying home, or not doing anything exciting, because overseas your dollar becomes worth a lot more. Just something to keep in mind. I do appreciate all of you who have joined in, and I hope the video is okay. This is being streamed live from the Hollywood Guitar Hotel over here in Hollywood, California. It is the Seminole Hard Rock. And I'm going to be enjoying my stay here. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. And for those of you who are looking at your own retirement situation, try to think beyond borders. And, you could probably have a good retirement if you start looking at other options other than just staying here, in the United States or England, or wherever you are, where it may be expensive and you can't really afford to do much more than just stay alive. But if you can balance it and visit other countries where your money is worth more, you could live a better lifestyle. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Stay safe. Bye-bye now.